This is the People of Bartlett podcast. I'm Dustin with Bartlett Local, and on this episode, we meet Jason Sykes with Bartlett City Schools. And I don't think anyone loves Bartlett more than Jason does. So get up, go outside, or just hang out on your couch while we get started with episode 3, and let's meet Jason. Today we've got Jason Sykes with us, who works in communications with Bartlett City Schools. Jason, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
Jason, so who are you and what do you do? What does that mean, work in communications with Bartlett City Schools?
Well, I've been in communications with Bartlett City Schools going on about 4 years, and our district is about 6 years old, so I came in a couple years after they had started. But I handle a lot of the communications, marketing, PR work for our school district. That is everything from, certainly specialized communication pieces to our students and families and employees, marketing.
Is that the emails that I get once or twice a week?
Some of them very well could be. I can't say it's all me, but some of them can be some of the information I'm pushing out. Website, social media, all of that falls under that communications. And I tell you what, I love every minute of it.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing with Bartlett City Schools.
Thank you.
So, Jason, what is your day-to-day like on your job? Do you sit in meetings all day, or are you typing emails all day?
It's pretty busy nonstop from the time I get up. After I drop my kids off, I've got 3 kids. After I drop them off thankfully they're all in one school at the same school. So once I get them dropped off, it's pretty busy. It's emails and it's meetings, and I'm thankful to work with such a great group of folks. It's certainly the communication side. I work with a lot of our volunteers around our district and our schools and special projects around the district, and making sure that that's in line and meeting the needs of our students and families. And then, good old community relations activities. So it's out in the public. I work very hard at trying to validate and show examples of how great our school district is. I think we have some very positive things happening in our schools with our students and our faculty and staff. And it's like I tell folks at work, we've got to be able to tell that story. If we don't tell that story, it's either not going to get told or it's going to get told incorrectly. So large part of what I do is trying to validate the fact that we really do have the best schools here in Bartlett.
Something I always tell people is that there's a story about what is happening. You're either in control of it or you're not.
That's right.
So
yep.
That's really awesome that you're being proactive and making sure that people hear the right things at the right time.
Yes, absolutely. And that comes in different forms. It comes through social media or websites. It comes through, meeting with corporate and faith-based members in the community, and attending special events and meeting with families and students. It comes in a lot of different varieties, and no 2 days are the same. And that's one of the things I love about what I get to do every day.
You really have some passion for what you do as well. So
yeah,
you're definitely appreciated, and you definitely help make our community what it is.
Well, thank you.
How did you end up at Bartlett City Schools?
It's a great story. Most of my professional background has been in the nonprofit sector. When I graduated from college, I started interning at Youth Villages, which is a local company here, in their public relations and communications department. And so that was where I found myself, and I kind of stayed in that vein. Went from there to another large nonprofit. At the time, it's Lifeblood. It's Vitalent now as their director of marketing and some other areas there as well. And then I had the awesome opportunity. One of the goals for me was, since I lived in Bartlett, was I always wanted to work in Bartlett. And I was able to do that. I went to work for our current mayor, Mayor McDonald, overseeing the Bartlett Performing Arts and Conference Center, and did that for a little while. And then found myself at Bartlett City Schools. Like I said, I've been there almost 4 years. And just that path kind of led me to where I am today. And I've kind of taken all the things that I've learned and put it together. And I tell you what, working for Bartlett City Schools, you've probably heard the slogan, "There's no place I'd rather be." So that's where I'm at, and I'm happy about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you have a Labradoodle?
I do, a mini Labradoodle. He's about 4 years old, and he's fully grown at this point. Not very big, but he's I tell you, he's a laid back, cool dog. Nothing gets him real riled up. Like I said, I've got 3 kids, and so they're always pulling and poking and doing things, and he just sits there and lets them do it. So he keeps it interesting.
Sounds fun. He gets along with the kids.
Absolutely, and strangers. He never meets a stranger. He's just a good dog to have.
And you said 3 children.
I do, yeah. I have 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. My oldest is 11. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. They're all at Ellendale Elementary. And so, I drop them off in the morning, and my wife also works at Ellendale Elementary, so she can kind of keep tabs on them. And so we're all, everything we do is just, pretty close to the house, my work and her work and all that. So
that stays busy, I guess.
Absolutely.
Now,
yep.
The next question I have to ask you here is, what is your connection to Bartlett? But I think it's pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah, Bartlett City Schools is I guess these days what I'm known for. I grew up in Bartlett. I've lived my entire life in Bartlett. All of my immediate family is right here in Bartlett. And my parents have been in Bartlett since 1970. And believe it or not, they live in the same house that they bought in 1970. And so I don't know too many people that can say that. But
what part of Bartlett are they in?
They're over close to Elmwood Park Middle School. Okay. They're in that area. Yeah.
I love that neighborhood over there too. Is that where you grew up?
It is. I lived in that house till the day I got married. And back then I walked to Elmwood Park Middle. Used to be an elementary school. I walked to Elmwood Park. It was just that close. And so, like I said, I've lived here my entire life, and I take a lot of pride in that. Some people find that hard to believe, or they think I'm joking or whatever, but I take a lot of pride in that. Bartlett's my home. I've chosen to raise my family here, and that's a decision that I'll never regret, and Bartlett will be my home for a long time.
It's a good place. It's definitely grown on me. I've lived in Bartlett about 6 years. And at first I was like, I don't really know if this is for me because I come from Midtown. But here we are, and it's fantastic. I ride my bike down to Starbucks sometimes, or I walk down to the train tracks and walk up and down the train tracks, or we walk to, I think there's 5 parks less than a mile from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the great thing about Bartlett. Bartlett's a full-service community. We have so many wonderful things. Fire police, parks, schools, the local government's well run. We've got great eateries. We've got, a lot of great small businesses and wonderful restaurants, and our own hospital. I could keep going on. And so, I tell people all the time, hey, you need to come check. If you don't know about Bartlett, you need to come check it out.
For sure. And I've never heard the term full service community before, but that's exactly what it is. I know I don't ever have to drive very far.
Right.
It really doesn't matter what I need. I can pretty much get it in Bartlett or Target, which on the last episode we learned is not in Bartlett, but it's very close.
Yeah. It's on the other side of the street, right?
Correct. It's on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people don't know that Bartlett actually goes all the way up to 40 at the Wolf Chase area, but on the north side of Stage Road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people who don't live in Bartlett, they'll say something like, "Well, I was out in Bartlett the other day." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, where were you at?" And they're naming something out in Cordova, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no. Wait a minute, that's not Bartlett."
So, Jason, what hobbies do you enjoy other than living in Bartlett?
Well, I love to travel. If I had all the money in the world, travel is probably what I'd spend it on.
What's the
I
last
just
place you went to?
The last probably big place I went to was Washington D.C. and I'm a big history guy. We may get into this later, but I love presidential history, and so Washington D.C. was, I mean, it's the place to be to soak all that in. So Washington D.C. was the last trip I took, and oh man, it's one of my favorite places. So travel's one. Yeah, I'm a sports guy. I don't play as much as I used to, but I try to mix it up with my son a little bit. He played football for a couple years, and so I love the sports. And then the other thing, we just recently, me and some friends of ours have just recently started a kind of a foodie group where we'll get together maybe every other weekend and try some new restaurants and try to find places that the majority of the group haven't been. So that's become a good hobby of mine as well.
Anything weird you like to eat?
You know, I will try. I'm one of those that I will try anything at least once. I have very few specific food items that I just do not like. But by and large, I'll try anything.
Olives, beets, anchovies.
Yes, all that. I mean,
Awesome.
beets are not my favorite, but I will try it. I will do it.
Do you have any favorite restaurants in Bartlett?
Oh, I tell you what. I love supporting local. Nothing against the other places, and I visit them as well. I try to support our local businesses. One I just went to the other day was the Roosters.
Okay.
Chicken Shack. Great folks up there. And if you go, you got to try their fries. They're kind of like waffle fries with poncho cheese dip. Oh my goodness. It's just amazing. Okay. So that's a good one. Like the Voodoo Cafe, grabbing some friends, going and grabbing some coffee and some beignets over there. That's the kind of stuff that I just love to support and be together with friends and families. But I tell you, there's Mojo's is another one of my favorite. Mojo's Cafe, and I've got the problem is I have too many that I like. That's the problem.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Now let's pretend for a moment your wife's out of town, your kids are out of town, but you're stuck here in Bartlett.
Mm-hmm.
Where would we find you on a Saturday?
On a Saturday, I would probably. I like to be outdoors, so I probably hit a park or two, and I like to ride my bike. So I've been known to jump on the bike and hit Nesbitt Park. I'm certainly going to stop and get something to eat at probably one of these places I just named,
okay.
And just kind of chill out, grab some friends maybe, and just hang out. It's a weird concept, the wife and kid being out of town. So I may not know exactly what to do with myself, but I'll find something.
And is there something you believe that people just don't know about Bartlett that you think everyone needs to know?
Other than the fact that we have a full service community, we have the fire and the police and the parks and the schools and the great government and the hospitals. Other than that full service community, the other thing is we have some hardworking folks in Bartlett. Bartlett, I think, does a great job of supporting each other, be it a small business startup, be it our school system. Our faith-based community is extremely plugged in. We have a great mayor and board of aldermen and our school board members. Everybody is really, in my opinion, working to make Bartlett the best it can be. when you have those people in positions of influence. And Bartlett's a great place. We have that, I think, that Southern charm, but we know how to work hard, and we know how to try to bind together and help each other. And that's one of the qualities that I admire about Bartlett, and I want my kids to experience. So that would be the other thing I'd say.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the quick fire questions portion of the show.
Okay.
So what we do is I'm going to ask you a quick question. Make the answer as short or as long as you like, and we're going to go through quite a handful of them. All right?
I'll do my best.
All right, Jason. What is the most interesting thing you own?
Wow. Probably, I would say, just off the top of my head, I have some this is a sentimental answer, so I'm sorry, but this is something that's very near to me. My grandfather served in World War II, and I have some recordings that I made of him explaining his experience, and he really opened up, and so I got to see a unique perspective, and that's probably one of the most unique / treasured things that I have, is hearing that.
That's a very cool thing to own. That's such an awesome answer.
Yeah.
All right. Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Right. Name a book you enjoy.
Any presidential history book. Give it to me. I want to read it.
What TV series do you enjoy?
Oh. I like The Office. That would probably be one. Good Doctor. I've got several, but those are the two that kind of pop into my mind. Yep.
What music have you been listening to recently?
You know, I'd have to say I'm not listening to a lot of music right now. I'm really, maybe I'll get brownie points for this, but I'm really into podcasts these days. So I've got my fair share of podcasts that I rotate through. I've certainly got some favorites.
Well, I know a good local podcast you might enjoy.
I do. I do enjoy it. Yeah.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Probably snail.
Okay. What's the longest consecutive time you've ever spent in a car?
Probably about 10 or 11 hours.
Where'd you go to?
It was out west, Colorado and New Mexico and that area. Yeah.
Who would play you in the movie of your life?
I'm not sure anybody would be crazy enough to or willing enough to play me. Jim Caviezel.
Okay. What impresses you?
Ooh. People who make a difference in the world. They see a need, they rise to meet the challenge, and they make it happen. Those people impress me.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
When are you at your most productive?
In the mornings. I'm a morning person. Majority of the time, I get out of bed before my alarm ever goes off, throw the covers back, get up, I'm ready to go. Give me a cup of coffee, and I can hang with the best of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Read people's mind.
Okay.
Although that could be a curse, I guess. But
Sure.
Maybe if I had an on-off switch where I could choose when I wanted to do that, that would be it.
And if you weren't in your current role, what might you find yourself doing?
Probably a psychologist.
That's a great answer.
Yep.
And we'll go ahead and wrap it up with this one. Would you talk about a mistake you've made in your life?
I would talk about it. I think that's how we learn, and I think that's how we grow. Mistakes happen to us all, and so what are you going to do with it? So I think if it's a way for me to learn by talking about it, or to encourage somebody else to work through something, I wouldn't mind talking about it.
That sounds cool. Jason, do you have any questions for me or any comments?
No, my comment would be thank you for doing this. There are some really great folks in Bartlett that are doing some amazing things, and it may be somebody sitting next to you at the traffic light that you have no idea about, or somebody working at a restaurant, or somebody trying to lead a business. There are so many phenomenal people. I think the fact that you're reaching out to a cross-section of folks, trying to dive a little deeper and learn about folks, I think is commendable. You've got my full support, and I'm excited to help promote this project.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Jason, where can people find you if they want to know more about you or Bartlett City Schools?
Well, I'll start with me first. I'm a big Twitter guy. That would be at Jason A. Sykes on Twitter. Facebook, certainly on there, facebook.com/SykesJA. If they want to get better in contact with our school system, on Twitter would be at Bartlett Schools. And then if you search Bartlett City Schools on Facebook, we're there as well. We've got a great following both on Facebook and Twitter. So if we haven't connected to you, we'd love to connect to you.
Well, Jason, I really appreciate your time, and thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot, Jason.